episode of Inspire to Rewire. For all of the newbies tuning in on this podcast or this episode, my name is Sharona and I am your host. I would like to wish everyone a happy new year that celebrated New Year's according to the Gregorian calendar, which majority of population on Earth does. I want to give people another fascinating way to look at time, and actually a fascinating fact if you ask me. Are you aware that there is something called the turtle calendar, which is actually based on nature's rhythms and cycles of the moon? And in this system, the year is divided into 13 months, each with 28 days, plus 1 day out of time, like one rest day. It's actually a calendar that is deeply connected to the natural world and syncing us perfectly with the lunar cycles. And this calendar aligns with the spring equinox. So around March 2021, it's a point when day and night are equal, making the start of longer and warmer days in the northern hemisphere. And for many indigenous cultures and natural timekeepers, this period actually represents renewal and growth and the true beginning of a new year. And this natural new year contrasts a lot with the Gregorian calendar, when New Year actually falls on January 1st, which is not tied to seasonal changes or natural rhythms. So the turtle calendar emphasizes a deeper connection to nature's cycles, which is very fascinating. And we are so connected to nature and the moon and the stars and the universe. And in the turtle calendar, which aligns with natural and lunar cycles, the new year is celebrated around the time of spring, when nature begins to renew and bloom. Isn't that what New Year represents? A new start, a new beginning, letting go of the past year and celebrating a new year to renew. It's a big contrast to the Gregorian calendar. And the Gregorian calendar is solar-based, and it's designed to keep dates in sync with Earth's orbit around the sun, but it doesn't align with the lunar phases. And this can feel out of sync with natural rhythms. So I stumbled upon this information a while ago, and I think that this makes perfect sense. And I just wanted to share this information, and whatever you choose to do with that, that's totally up to you. And since it's a new year or an upcoming new year, or however you choose to look at it, I would like to talk about a subject today that actually is close to my heart. And I think that it has helped me a lot to navigate in my life, and it has made my life so much easier. And I think that this is a trait that is not always mastered by many, but the people who master it, I have a great respect for, because I think that this it liberates you in more ways than one, and it liberates the people around you. It's a very, very strong trait to have. And I want to talk about responsibility. And I think that responsibility is the key to unlocking personal freedom and actually having lasting fulfillment. I know that many are in the quest for happiness, and I think that many people fall into the trap of blaming circumstances or even other people or external forces for the states of their life. I think it's very easy for people to see ourselves as victims of the world, thinking that our challenges are caused by something beyond our control. But I do know that this mindset keeps us stuck in a cycle of frustration, and that is limiting our growth and robbing us of our very own happiness that we are actually seeking. So the truth is, if you ask me, happiness is directly tied to taking responsibility. And the moment we as individuals start to take full ownerships of our life, our choices and our actions, and even our mistakes, is the moment we actually reclaim our power to change and create a life that aligns with our true desires. I don't think responsibility is a burden to bear, I think it's a great tool for transformation. And I say this because I have my own experience of it. The more responsibility I take in my own life, the more my life changes and the easier things become. Because I'm not giving away my control anymore. I'm taking it. I'm taking my power back in every phase and aspect of my life. I'm not blaming anything else to why I'm doing something. I noticed that a lot of people are avoiding taking responsibility. And I just think that delays your happiness. And people are in comfort zone of blame and blaming external factors for their problems. And I think people do that so they can feel some type of relief. And it shifts the burden away from them and making it seem like this is not my fault. It's not my fault for my struggles. But the moment you take ownership for your struggles and you understand that you are the only one who can change it, your whole life will change. I understand that blaming others and blaming circumstances will only offer you like short-term comfort because it will keep you in a passive role. But when we constantly blame others or our circumstances, we actually surrender the control we have over our own life. And we're waiting for something else to change instead of being the change ourselves. You know, I have learned this from, I think we learn a lot from our relationship that we do have if we choose to. It's always a choice, of course. But I have noticed that, you know, how people choose to move and how people choose to navigate, it's always a choice individually up to them, right? So when people are going about things the way they want to go about them, if I end up in a situation with a friend, so to speak, I'm going to give you guys an example. And that person maybe goes about something in a way I don't really respect, right? I can maybe understand it because of whatever trauma or issues or whatever that person has been through, but I don't respect it. So I'm going to give the person the awareness. I'm going to have a conversation with him or her because I honestly believe that the most beautiful thing and loving thing I can give to a person is honesty. So I will tell them what I think about their actions. And if a similar situation happens between the two of us again, and the person chooses to go about it the same, he or she is showing me who they are. So they're not going to change. I already made them aware of something. So the best thing I can do in that situation is for me to change. You know, if I keep getting frustrated at the person for going about it or handling me in a certain type of way in a certain situation, it's not longer their fault. They're choosing it. And I'm choosing to participate in it if I just, you know, go about it the same way or stand there and act surprised about how they're going about it. No, now it's my choice to take responsibility and change my way of going about it with them. So the next time the same situation maybe happens or comes, either I have foresight so that situation doesn't happen with that person again because now I know who he or she is or chooses to be in that situation until he or she chooses to change. But I have to take ownership in that situation and take my responsibility so I will change. Maybe the dynamic in our relationship will change or, you know, whatever it is. I have no idea depending on the situation. But I think that, you know, people will only change when they want to change. And I think that here is where a great thing with responsibility comes in, because when you end up in situations with people, I can either blame them for how they're going about it, or I can take notice and understand who they are and where they are on their journey. And then I take responsibility so I won't end up in that situation with them again. Because maybe it gets me frustrated or mad or sad or whatever it is. I understand that a lot of people also have fear of taking accountability, because taking responsibility actually means acknowledging that we are the architects of our lives. And this can be very scary for some people, and especially when things aren't going the way we want to. So the idea of being accountable for our choices and actions and results can be very intimidating for some people. But I know for a fact, for myself, it's the most liberating thing. And I notice, you know, with accountability, we actually miss out on the growth and lessons that comes from our mistakes and our challenges. It's so easy for people to not take responsibility in situations that happens to them. And I see this happen all the time in various situations. And, you know, I've been there myself once, and now I'm just looking at it and I'm like, I'm so happy, you know, that I've learned this and I learned to practice this more and more into my life. So now it's just like a natural thing. I check myself before anyone else has the opportunity to check myself. I've said this before and I'm going to say it again. I am my greatest project I will ever work on. And the more I work on myself, my internal, the more freer I become. Freedom starts within. Freedom starts in your mind. You know, you can have all the money in the world, but you might not be free because you are not free within you. And my path to freedom has been amazing, and it's been challenging, and it's been hard, difficult, but it's been I wouldn't change a thing. And I keep walking my path to become more freer and freer every time, all the time. That's like my purpose, to free myself as much as I can and then free the people around me as much as I can, to share my experiences and what I've been through, and hopefully plant a seed or two in people's mind or inspire or motivate people. We are here individually and uniquely walking our own path, and our own journeys. And I believe that we are all here to teach from one another. One thing with responsibility that I have noticed is that people fall into like victimhood. And I think that this is one of the most destructive consequences of avoiding responsibility, when you fall into a victim mentality. Because when we see ourselves as a victim of the circumstances, we actually become reactive instead of proactive. And this mindset strips people from the power to change. And it locks people into the same patterns of behaviors that perpetuates dissatisfaction. And victimhood only postpones happiness because it's keeping you stuck in a loop of helplessness. You are your own hero. You are your own savior. That's literally how it is. No matter how it can be a very hard pill to swallow, but it can also be a very empowering thing to know that you are your freedom. It's such a transformative power of taking responsibility, because it's shifting your entire life. It shifts your perspective in every aspect. And when we shift from blaming external factors to taking responsibility for our lives, everything changes. Responsibility gives us the power to take control. And we learn from our experiences, and we create meaningful changes. It's such a great empowerment through ownership. I really respect this trait, when people own up to when people just own what they're doing and accept, because you have to accept it within yourself. That's where it starts. Everything starts within you. And when people go about certain things a certain way, I have great respect, because I understand that it's work behind that. And it's the most empowering realization for yourself when you can have this understanding and you take responsibility for your own life. It doesn't mean that you can control everything that happens to you, but it does mean that you can control how you respond to everything and to those events. Everything that has happened to you in your entire life is not always your fault. It wasn't because of you. Hurt people. So you might be hurt by people because they are hurt. But how you heal from it, that's 100% your responsibility. And how you choose to maybe put your past into the present moment is also your responsibility. If you can take responsibility for what happened to you, maybe when you were a child or when you were a teenager or maybe like a month ago or whatever it might be, when you take ownership over that situation and just decide that you want to heal from it, or you want to do better because you want to become better for you, your life will change. You have to take responsibility for that. It's a great thing to do this. It's a great thing to practice in your daily life and choose, having the power to choose how you want to respond to situations instead of just, reacting. It's empowering, to say the least. And when we own our role in our lives, we stop waiting for things to improve on their own. We actually start taking actions to make things better. And you start becoming proactive. And you start, moving with intention and purpose. Because this mindset will shift incredibly. And it's so powerful. It transforms you from a passive bystander into an active creator of your own destiny. Do you understand how powerful that is? You are a creator, and whatever you want to create, you can. It's literally in your hands. Nothing is out of your control. Unless you choose to just put your hands up and surrender to the control and give it to someone else. Take the steering wheel. Changing your perspective and taking responsibility allows you to see life through a different lens. Instead of seeing challenges or obstacles or unfair burdens, you will begin to view them as opportunities for growth and self-improvement. And this change in perspective will help you embrace life's ups and downs. And you will gain resilience, and you will understand the sense of purpose in life and purpose of these lessons that is given to you by, life or universe or source or however you want to see it. And you are reclaiming control of your life. So when you avoid taking responsibility, you give up your control. Your life becomes dictated by external forces, and it leaves you feeling powerless. But when you take responsibility, guess what? You reclaim that control. You have to realize that you can't always control what happens, but you can control how you choose to navigate through it. That's your unique power. And by doing this also, you have to understand how much you can inspire people around you to do the same, because they will see you. And to navigate through a difficult situation or challenge with responsibility, I don't think you even understand how much that will inspire and motivate people just by you being who you are. This is also a thing. You can't tell people what to do. You need to show them. And the best way to show people or inspire people around you is by doing. So when you start to move differently, people will see how you move. And you will gain so much control by taking responsibility. It will lead you to greater confidence and resilience. And most of all, it will give you inner peace. There is such a ripple effect of taking responsibility. I think that the biggest part of it, the biggest change that you will feel is happiness. Who doesn't want to be happy? We all want to be happy. And we don't want to have this fake happiness where we carry around a mask or, tell ourselves that we are happy. We actually want to feel it from within. I think responsibility is everything that leads to growth. I am so for. Because we are here to grow and to become better versions of ourselves all the time. And whatever that definition means to you, it's very individually based. Responsibility actually leads to growth. And growth comes from learning. And learning comes from taking responsibility for our actions and our mistakes. So when we stop blaming others, we actually gain valuable insights into our own behaviors and habits and choices. And this self-awareness will allow you to evolve and become a better version of yourself and approach life with a more empowered mindset. And responsibility, if you ask me, actually helps you grow more authentic relationships. Because the most important relationship you have is the one you have with yourself. And the more authentic you become with yourself, this will just be another ripple effect of taking responsibility, or ripple effects that, by having certain changes that happens within you will ripple out to the life outside of you. So taking responsibility for your actions will also transform your relationships, because blame erodes trust, but responsibility actually fosters open communication and understanding and accountability. So when we own our behaviors and we stop deflecting and blaming others, we actually strengthen our relationships. And we create deeper connections and we build mutual respect. And I also think taking responsibility in your relationships actually gives people a type of safe love, and you will set up healthy boundaries as well. Because one thing I understand is that people have a way of blaming their circumstances to why they are the way they are. I have been through a few relationships myself where people, they go about life a certain type of way. And sometimes I don't always understand it. And I, have a conversation with them about it. And then they blame, but this happened to me when I was young, or I have this wound from this past relationship, or whatever. And I'm like, okay, I understand that. But how you're going about it right now, I don't respect it, because now you have the awareness and you have a choice to do something about it. But you're choosing not to. And I'm looking at them and I'm like, why? Because the only thing you are removing or taking away from your own self is your own happiness and your own freedom. And if you want to stay there and you want to be stagnant within that, or you feel like you are not ready to move on from it or do the work that you need to do, that's okay. But just because you are in storm with yourself or not at peace, I don't need to participate in that, because you're choosing it. And I don't need to choose that it's okay or accept that it's okay for you to treat me a certain type of way because you have been through things when you were younger. I will always treat people around me with respect and love. But if you are not going to do the same towards me because of the things that has happened to you in your previous life, I don't have to accept that. I'm going to make you aware of it one time. And if you choose to go about it the same for selfish reasons or selfish wounds or whatever it might be, or hurt and pain, that's okay. I totally understand it. I might not always respect the choices that other people choose to do, but it's not up to me. It's up to you to want to change your life for you. I am here to change my life for me. And I'm trying to free myself in so many ways I can and love myself deeper and deeper all the time. The deeper I free myself and the deeper I love myself, the deeper I can free and love the people around me. I think that, responsibility is also a great key to personal freedom. I think it's the ultimate gift, that responsibility is freedom. Because when we stop seeing ourselves as a victim of circumstances and we just own our own power, we free ourselves. We free ourselves from the chains of helplessness and frustration. And this freedom will bring you clarity and inner peace and the ability to pursue what truly matters to you without being held back by excuses or blame. So how do you start taking responsibility for your life? Some people might ask. I think it's a great tool is to embrace self-reflection. The first step toward taking responsibility, I think, is to become aware of how you are currently living. And self-reflection helps us identify where we are and where we've been avoiding taking responsibility and where we can take ownership. And ask yourself, where have I been blaming others for my unhappiness? And what areas of my life could I take more responsibility for? And please stop the blame game. Whenever you catch yourself blaming external factors, whether it's people, circumstances, or the past, just pause and redirect your thoughts and ask yourself, what part did I play in this situation? And what can I do to change it? And how can I change the outcome moving forward? This shift in focus will help you take your power back. And one thing I have noticed about people is that we are so good if something bad happens to us, or if we get criticized by something, that can literally stick to us and we take that, to heart. But when we do something good or we get good feedback, it kind of sometimes just go over our head. So accept your role in both successes and failures. Responsibility doesn't mean blaming yourself for every problem. It means recognizing your role in all outcomes, the good and the bad. So celebrate your successes, but also acknowledge where you can improve. Every experience offers valuable lessons. So when we take responsibility for them, there is so much to learn. And it's just a great trait, man. Responsibility is awesome. I think that some words just have a bad cling to them. And I think responsibility is a beautiful word. And I would just like to encourage everyone to take action. No matter how small or big the steps are, just move. Because once you have identified where you need to take responsibility, start taking small steps toward change. It doesn't have to be a big leap. Just move 1% a day. Just move a little bit. Whether it's within your career or within your relationships or personal habits, just take action to improve these areas for you. Responsibility isn't just a mindset. It's actually a practice that involves consistent effort and self-accountability. Responsibility also cultivates resilience. Because when you take responsibility, it also means accepting that life will have challenges, right? We can't change that. We will have our ups and downs, and we won't always get things right. But resilience comes from owning our mistakes and from learning from them and moving forward with a sense of purpose. Embrace challenges as opportunities for growth, knowing that you have the power to change your path. You are your own superhero. And I think that's dope. The conclusion of this whole thing is that responsibility is your path to happiness and freedom and liberation. So at heart of personal fulfillment is the willingness to take responsibility for your own life. So stop waiting for others to change or for circumstances to improve or for life to get better. You unlock the door to true happiness by taking responsibility. It will empower you to create the life that you actually desire and to grow from every experience and to approach life with confidence, clarity, and freedom. And isn't that ultimately what you deserve and what you want? Responsibility is not a burden, okay? Please understand this. It's the key to unlocking your fullest potential. By owning your actions and your choices and even your outcomes, you will reclaim your power. You will reclaim it back and you will open the path to lasting happiness. And I think that's ultimately what we all deserve. I always try to not to keep my episodes too long because I know that there's a lot of information out there and sometimes it can be very overwhelming and there's so much you want to hear or so much you want to catch up on. And I want to try to keep my episodes a little bit shorter and more valuable or informational or whatever you say. But I am so grateful for everyone that is tuning in and listening to this podcast and wants to hear a little bit of my mind and my thoughts. So thank you. Like a great man once said that I am, in awe of, Bob Marley, I and I unity. You are a great spirit and you live forever in our hearts. And yeah, thank you and bless you all. Namaste.